everyone. It's Kimber Schaefer here for Rage in the Cage OKC News, and we are hanging out here at R1 in Choctaw. I couldn't be more excited to have this guy. He's big and tall. I got to stand on my tiptoes next to him. This is Braden Smith. He trains out of R1 here in Choctaw, home of Matt Grice, and he is making quite the name for himself in both the MMA and boxing world. And I was so honored to be able to, and just being the audience, I don't even think you knew I was there, but I got to see your boxing fight this past week at Fire Lake Arena. And I have seen you say before that you normally start slow, but oh my goodness, you had me on the edge of my seat. It was probably my favorite fight of the night. You won that one with the TKO, your first ever TKO in a professional bout, in about 1:36. So how did you feel about that fight? And I'm sure that just really, it gives you confidence when you go home with a win like that, I'm sure.
Yeah, I just heard him early, and I wanted to get after him and finish him. I do start slow, so I get warmed up like 6 rounds in the back to make up for it. So the first round of the fight's like my 7th round of fighting, but yeah.
So why do you think that you start slow so much? I mean, is it just kind of the fighter that you are, just kind of how you've gotten into a routine of doing that? And is that really paid off for you in the past?
I always started slow in the gym. Like the first few rounds, I'm always slow. So I just figured out after my first fight, I kind of gassed a little too early, and a lot of it was because I only got warmed up like 1 round. So after that, I just started going crazy, and about 6 rounds before I start, and that's it. And then I started getting finishes pretty quick. So that's what I did.
Well, and as a fighter, that's kind of how you do it. You find out what works for you, and what works for you may not work for another fighter, but it definitely has paid off in that you've had, the 2 boxing matches as a pro, you've had 2 amateur fights in MMA, and then the 2 pro fights in MMA, and you are all wins. And so I know that you have definitely found a rhythm and what works for you. So let's talk about, your past. You obviously had some boxing training before you came to R1. So, kind of lead us and tell us why you ended up getting into boxing and MMA in the first place, and just your background in the sports.
I started boxing, a year before I started doing mixed martial arts, and there was a gym down the road from my house, and I would just walk there every day. And then afterwards, I started seeing there was a couple guys who did mixed martial arts up there, but they only had like 3. So then it was just a long story. I ended up moving closer to R1, and then I came up here and met Matt Grice, and he took me in, and then I started doing mixed martial arts, and then I turned 18 and started fighting. And so, I just keep racking up the wins and try to be as well-rounded as possible. But I love it all, so yeah.
You said you keep racking up the wins, and I mean, isn't that the truth? And also, you've got such an amazing support system here at R1, and a family that really backs you up. Let's talk about your family and how they have really played a role in you becoming not only the person you are. I mean, you're 20 years old, and you're just already making such a great name for yourself here in Oklahoma. So what has your family played, how have they played a role in that, making you the person you are?
I'm 19 still, and my family actually didn't support this at first, and I started just training really hard, and I showed them. And after I started fighting, they kind of jumped on board, but it was just one after another, and I just kind of was myself all the time and stopped trying to be like other people. And eventually it just took over, and they like the entertainment, and next thing I know, there's like 80 people there, and the audience is turning red for my shirts, and I can't even thank them enough, man. It's like my stepmom, she promotes me so well, and she'll probably be my manager one day. So yeah, I can't thank her enough. She's helped a lot and everything. So
let's talk about your family here behind me, the R1 family. Anytime I talk to somebody and I talk about, who do you think at this gym has what it takes to go to the top, your name is mentioned every single time. And so we're so excited to be able to see you showcase your skills at Rage in the Cage. We've had so many fighters, obviously, go from Rage in the Cage and onto the UFC. I mean, random fighters sometimes in the audience. Brian Foster showed up to one of our fights, and I got to interview him, and he got his start, his pro fight at Rage in the Cage, his pro debut actually. And so I'm so excited to see your career blossom, but I'm so excited that all of your fellow fighters think so highly of you and think that you have what it takes to make it to the big stage. Do you think you have what it takes? I mean, how are you feeling going into that?
I wouldn't have started. I always talk and hold my head high, 'cause I know I work hard enough. I'm deserving of all this. So I know all my teammates will do the same thing, and if I have to be the one that leads the way, then I will. But I know they're all hungry, and they're going to want it just as bad as I do. So confidence is everything, and we're coming to take everything. This is our world out here. So yeah, that's it, man. They help me so much, and one day I want the floors to be made of gold and the UFC belt on the wall. That's all I want, and I'll be happy.
Well, I know that, as far as coaches go, I mean, you guys have an amazing team of coaches here. You've got several fighters that have fought on UFC cards. You have a great source of, somebody to build your confidence and really get you to where you need to go. How do you think in the future you're going to be able to give back to the gym?
Well, eventually the big checks will start coming in, and then I'll do whatever they need, man. Maybe I want Grice to, he says he doesn't want to ever make a dime off this gym, but, I want him to, retire and live and just, teach, because I can see, after the car wreck and everything, like, this is what kept him around, and I can't even express to you how much passion there is in this gym, and, I'll make it up to him one day. He hardly, I've been broke, and he doesn't charge me a dime, so, he deserves it.
And let's talk about how you feel MMA has really played a role in making you not only a better fighter and helping you achieve your dreams as a fighter, but we all know that MMA is a lot about mental focus and about, you being healthy mentally and, being on your game in that aspect. How do you feel like MMA really helps you in that aspect? And especially this gym, R1?
Actually, I had a broken family for a long time, no one got along in my whole family, and they was always trying to get me to pick sides and everything, and, my mom didn't like my grandparents, my dad didn't like my mom didn't like my dad, and it was bad, and then I started fighting, and I started just going out there and being me, and next thing I know, I look at the pictures, and, there's like 80 people there, and they're all together, they're out partying at the casinos afterwards together. So to make everybody forget about all the stuff that's happened in our lives and stuff, that's what inspires me. No amount of money is worth that. So that's the thing that motivates me. I'll be in here every day, and I'll get belts, and by the end of this year, there'll be local belts all over my shoulders. I'm taking over, so for sure.
Well, that is such an inspirational story, and I've had the pleasure of meeting some members of your family and just an amazing, amazing group of people. So I'm excited to kind of get to know a few more. So I'm excited for you, Braden. I can't wait to see you in the cage and like you said, get those belts and take on some really tough competitors, because we all know that it's the tough competitors and the people that, when you go in the cage, you have a big fight ahead, are the ones that make you grow. So looking forward to that. So what else do you have to say about those people out there that are wondering whether they should come to this event or not?
If you're wondering whether you should come to this event, I've had 6 fights so far, and I've finished 4 of them in the first round. So don't blink and come and get your beers, and at the end of the night, the commissioner is going to hand me a yellow paper, and it's going to say another victory, and I'm going to give everybody a show, so get ready.
All right. Well, he said it. He's helping me out doing my job. You guys don't miss it. Rage in the Cage 43. Like we said, we've got 5 powerhouses from R1 on this card, and it is going to be a night of amazing talent being showcased. It's all going down Saturday, January 23rd at the Oklahoma City Farmers Public Market. I'm sure if Braden's not running low on tickets already, you can get tickets from him, any other fighters on the card, Ticketstorm.com, or any Metro Party Galaxy location. You have no excuse. Be there.